This is part 2 of a series about porting a seismic data application written on the Swing application framework to the NetBeans platform. In part 1, we saw the application displays data that comes from an SU file, seismic Unix data file, and we also ended up with an application that at least recognizes the .su files in the context of a new NetBeans platform application. So it has a bunch of windows, a bunch of functionality. We have file type support set up. We have a MIME type. We have a special icon. We can create new actions that will be displayed here. And we have a top component that contains a tab for rendering our data. So the panels that we have here should be displayed in here for each of the files. Each of the tabs already knows about the underlying data. We can see that. So now we need to somehow move our code into these tabs that we see here. The first thing is that I don't know very much about this application. So how to find out about it? How to find out without reading through a lot of code, just to get an initial surface level perspective on what the application is all about on a UI level. We can debug the application, so we have it here, and I can say open trace file again. So we're now in debug mode, and we're going to do something special. Once we have our file open, we can go to this special button here, which is relatively new in NetBeans, not from this 7.3 release, but from, I believe, 7.1 or 2. Say create snapshot, and now we have a snapshot, and we can then in the properties window find information about all these different components. You can see as I click on a component, I see some information. The navigator is also helpful. So let's see. Okay, this is especially useful because the application is written on JSR 296, and I'm in NetBeans 7.3. I've got NetBeans 6.9.1, which is where JSR 296 was last supported. But you can see here, NetBeans support of Swing application framework has been discontinued. Use NetBeans 7 if you want to use this framework. 6.9.1 even better. So we don't get a GUI view, but here we do in the GUI debugger that NetBeans has. And so we can see that this panel here is called SemblancePanel, this one is called Gather Panel, this one's called CDP Trace Panel. That's very useful information to know. Let's close some of these windows that we have open here. So we have 3 panels, we know their names, and okay, you can see the listeners, set breakpoints. The most important thing is we want to work with this particular panel first of all. So this is called SemblancePanel. This is the panel that we need to have inside of our design view. Okay, so that's useful to know. So where is this Semblance panel? Can we jump from here into that panel? Go to component source. Okay, here it is. And where is that source? Inside this SIGI support. Now this is a generic seismic Unix data support library, and you can see that this library is used as a dependency in the velocity picker where the JSR 296 functionality is found. Now even in here, okay, so the semblance panel is what we need. We can't open these panels in the velocity picker application because this is the JSR 296 application, but we can open the other panels that come from this generic support library. This is not an application, it's a library. It doesn't have a main class. What we need to do is, well, we could do different things. We could copy all of these panels and all the source code into our module. But that's not a modular solution. We want this to be its own specific separate module. So here we go. I'll say SIGI support. There isn't a main package in that. I've seen that, so I'll just call it org SIGI. Otherwise, I would be using whatever the main package is from that particular library. Let's close the application. Let's close the session. Okay, so here we have our module. Actually, what we wanted to do here was not create a module. I'm going to delete it again because I made a mistake. So we've deleted the module. Instead of creating a new module, we're going to add a new library, which will create a new module, which will wrap our library. So it will not have source code, but it will have. So here I've built this library. As a result, I have a dist folder which contains SIGI support jar. So this is a jar of this library. And this is how you include third-party jars in a NetBeans Platform application that's built on Ant, as opposed to Maven or Gradle. Org SIGI. Let's call it org SIGI. There we go. So now we can see here that this contains a jar, and that contains all the packages that come from the library that we started with. So we might just as well close this. Now, in order to use this, these panels inside of the module that provides our tab where we want to integrate that, we need to add a module dependency on the SIGI support. So here it is. So now we can use the public packages that are in there. You can see, well, we have everything is public because we used a library wrapper module template which sets all the packages to public, as we can see here. So all the packages are public and can be accessed by other modules, which by definition would not be possible. So what we wanted was a semblance panel. So let's see how far we can get. So let's see. So here's the visual representation. Let's add. So we have SemblancePanel somewhere. Okay. Well, let's say that that should be returned here. Run the application again. Open one of the files. Okay, it's not displaying anything yet. So now we need to have a bit of a look at the code of the velocity picker. So what's interesting is in this application, it's a Swing Application Framework application. You would expect there to be a main class from the Swing Application Framework, but there isn't one. Instead, there are two JFrames. And when we run the application, what is run is this one, the LPicker3. So this is the actual main class, despite what the meta-env services folder tells us. Okay, so here is all the information that we need to move into our tab. You can see here that here's open menu items. So can we switch here? Yeah, see here, this is the problem exactly. This is why it was useful running the application as we did. So there was an open menu item, and here's the code for that. There's a combo box. So let's debug the file again. Find out some more about this combo box. Open the trace file. Open the trace file. So here's this combo box. So again, let's take a snapshot. So what's this combo box called? Look at the navigator. CDP combo box. So this is the combo box. So maybe it's best to leave this snapshot. It's going to be interesting to refer to. Let's go back to the top of the class. Auto stack. So this relates to this checkbox. So for the moment, all we want to have is this panel and this combo box for switching between the different velocities. All the other things we'll just leave for the moment. So that means auto stack as well. So here we go, starting the porting procedure. Okay. So we have a property change listener, and this uses a progress bar, status bar. These are from the Swing application framework. So some things we're going to comment out for the moment. Set SDP. This can also come along. We can see CDP combo. We can already add such a thing. Not in this guy, but here. So combo. Yeah, I've got some semblance panels already added here, but this approach isn't going to work. We could try and drag and drop, but we want to have, we're going to do it differently. So first of all, combo box. So this should be called based on this CDP combo. Change variable name CDP combo. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add a panel here, and then add to this panel that semblance panel. So the semblance panel won't take up the whole space of the tab. So I'm just going to put this guy in here as a placeholder for that guy. Then go in here and add the semblance panel to this J panel. So this is a wrapper for that panel. So this is semblance panel container. I'm doing this because I don't completely trust moving the semblance panel from here into here. I'd rather control when that is done in my code rather than having it done by the GUI builder. So I'm adding the panel to the semblance panel container, and I'm going to put it into border layout center. This panel is semblance panel, and semblance panel is already inside this because of the GUI builder. Okay, so semblance panel is added, and this CDP combo is added. What was the semblance panel called? It was actually not called semblance panel, but let's try and maintain the same name. Semblance panel is called semb. Okay. I'm going to call this semb. It's probably going to be referred to elsewhere, so I'm going to make it class level variable. There we go. Now let's see. So we have the CDP combo, A couple of these things we're just going to have to comment out for the moment. It's a property change listener. Okay, let's move it. Let's put it at the end of the class. And let's hope it behaves itself there. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that we now need to... So NMO we don't have yet, that's the other panel. So let's just comment out the pieces that are complaining at the moment. We have our own progress bar on the NetBeans platform that we can use later on. On the other hand, a lot of threading is handled automatically, so we won't need to worry about this in some of the cases. So progress bar. Okay, there we go. So we have property change listener removed. Next, let's see. So the semb needed. So let's move the comment with it. So we have semb. Let's find it. Okay. Next. So here's the open menu item. So we have the file already, the data object. From there we get the file object. From there we get the file. So this is a crucial piece here. Setting the file name on Sue. Sue turns out to be Sue engine, which comes from the SIGI support. Input stream, buffer. So this is a crucial moment in the lifecycle of this application when this file is set. Let's go back to where we were. So let's go back to Sue. So where was this created and initialized? So it was dragged and dropped into the GUI component. Now I wonder what that looks like, but I can't see that. So can we see Sue here? And let's see. I don't think so. It's very interesting. That it's not around. Where can it be? It's not a visible component. So where do we go to see how Sue is initialized? Equals new Sue engine. Let's go back to Sue 1. Okay, that's the name. SIGI. Okay, there we go. Here it is initialized. Nothing much happens to it. It's just created and initialized. Or what we can do to make extra sure. Control F3 to jump through. Okay, not very much happens. Okay, so we'll just create it and initialize it as was done here. Here we go. Here it is. Next up, let's see. Sue also gets property change support. Let's do that here. And let's also create right there. Here we go. What else? What else does Sue get? Close file. But here is the critical moment. So this is when opening. So this is actually opening it right here. And we have the Sue file. Okay. And what was kind of interesting here is toString, Sue file toString. It's turned into a string. Let's move these guys up here. Okay. So now it's a string, but we get the name. And we do some interesting things with it. Oh, that's for setting the title. We set the sort order. Okay, we can keep that. Don't completely know what the sort order is yet, but we can move it along. Let's also move all of this. And let's then take the combo box model. I think it's hard to avoid using the stack somehow, but let's try and avoid introducing stack unless errors tell us otherwise. Okay, so what was the open action? Set panel gather. So this is open. Wait, what's this open? This is the combo box action. This is also kind of interesting. Let's go up here again. If you have everything from the open, seems like we do. Okay, so now we will have an action performed on the combo box. We have the combo box. Let's first of all remove what is in there by default, so we don't get those random things. And action performed. Here's the action performed. Now, how far can we get in this SUG? Okay, we don't know what SUG is yet. NMO, okay, we can remove those pieces. There's a thread. Okay. Let's see how much we can keep from this. NMO we can forget about for the moment. Stacker, another guy that's in this game. Okay, doing okay. Let's see what we'll see. I'm not completely sure if we get the first panel, but we can try. Okay, here is the first one. Okay, we get the velocities. Okay, the SEM panel isn't updating, but we are somewhere. We are definitely somewhere. Let's close these guys. We're getting information for sure. Okay, so we're not getting the display yet. So is there a moment where we get the semblance panel? Oh, other question is the semblance panel correctly added? Is there anything wrong on that score? Aha, border layout center. However, this guy does not have border layout set. And that could be the only problem, possibly. Okay, let's try again. Wow. Right? Totally working. Totally working. Okay, admittedly, not the first time I've done this procedure. I did it a couple of days ago, but that was really painful and a lot of guesswork. And I'm just kind of doing it vaguely from what I remembered, and it's a pretty good deal. You can see that this is also working from the original application. All the property change support and the listening and whatever was there before that I don't know anything about is all working as well. Okay, so this is part 2. In the next part, we'll continue to the next stage.